And what I noticed over the years getting to know them is how respectful they were to my mother, how respectful they were to me. The behavior of the men I found to be much better, you know, than in general.
But before you met these Muslim gentlemen, did you have any ideas or preconceived notions about Islam?
I thought that, you know, when they said that we believe in the same God, I thought they were crazy, because I said, no, of course we don't believe in the same God. I thought it was totally foreign type of religion from what I believed in. I didn't realize that we have the same prophets, and that much of the information that Catholics are taught is actually the same as what Muslims are taught. So really I didn't know much about them at all. And honestly, the fighting that goes on all over the world, I don't find myself to be a prejudiced person, but it gives you pause to say, well, there's Muslims fighting Christians all over the world. And so at that time, I was probably, being a good Christian, a little bit more on the Christian side of the fence, not understanding the plight of the Muslims.
And so how did you start along the path of accepting Islam for yourself?
Well, initially, the folks I met gave me quite a bit of literature, which I read. And when I got to the part that Jesus wasn't God, that was it. You know, I could believe everything else.
Okay, now, when you say that was it, do you think before that point in your life, you already had you were looking for something that was in accordance to what you believed about Jesus?
No, I believed very, very strongly what I believed. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was teaching hundreds of children about Catholicism. That's why I think it's such a miracle that I converted to Islam. People were arguing to get their children into my Sunday school class. So what they said was that, you know, the same God and the same message came down over and over and over again to the different prophets. And they put Islam, Christianity, and Judaism sort of on a timeline for me as the same God, but different times and different prophets. And I started to look at it that way, and I believed many of the same components, like that Mary is the Virgin Mother, you know, of Jesus, but that Jesus is not God. So this was very hard to unbelieve that, because I believed it my whole life. And what happened, I think, is truly a miracle. One night I couldn't sleep, and I had been given a book by a sheikh from the Bronx Masjid, who came from Syria. He was just visiting. And the book was The Miracles of the Quran. And I couldn't sleep that night. I had that book for 2 years, never read it. And so I just picked up the book and I read it. And once I read it, I got this really frightened feeling. I said, oh my gosh, now I know it's the truth. I have no choice. And I knew the road would be so hard, because it's really not easy to change a religion. You have to consider your family, how they're going to take it, and it's very frightening.
So how did your family take it? How did your children who you taught in the Sunday school, how did all the people who knew you as the Sunday school teacher, how did they take it when you accepted Islam?
Well, a lot of them moved away from me, but my immediate family, my mother had a little bit of a hard time. Every time I tried to tell her, she would get up and walk away from the table. She knew, but she was afraid to discuss it. And that's about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, and today she's happy that, she said, I'm glad you found a beautiful religion. Haven't been able to convince her that to be Muslim yet. My sisters and brothers, you know, took it differently. Some were a little bit better than others, but nobody gave me a hard time. And my children, who now are 20, 22, and 24, my boy's 15, they were really positive about it. Really open and interested to learn more. So I found that overall, the immediate family responded very positively. The people who didn't know me so well, not so positively.
Now, talk about dawah to women. Can you tell me a bit about your activities as far as giving dawah to women about Islam?
Well, I started a program at the Islamic Society of Central Jersey. It's called Muslim by Choice program. We have a website. And I started this program because as a convert in the masjid, it's somewhat isolating. As loving and wonderful as the Muslims are, they're a little bit protective too. So when you have no Muslim family, your Muslim family has to be the sisters and brothers in the masjid.